Good evening, neighbors. Thank you for joining us again for another virtual town hall. If you're checking in on the daily press conferences by Governor DeWine and Dr. Acton, you may know that as of today, we have reached 704 cases, of which 3 are right here in Greene County. Of those cases in Greene County, we believe that these cases will only increase from here. And while we cannot share the information on the positive cases and where they live due to confidentiality and HIPAA regulations, and given that the testing is typically lagging behind 5 to 6 days due to individuals shedding the virus and infecting others for as long as 10 days prior to seeking any testing due to the symptoms that they're showing, it is important that we act and take all the necessary precautions as if this virus is right here in Yellow Springs. Please continue to take all the necessary precautions to protect yourself and protect your loved ones. Now, you may have heard from the national media, coming from the White House, and even from Governor DeWine that we could be back to regular operations as early as April 12th, according to the White House. And Governor DeWine's being a bit more conservative with the date, and that's primarily due to the modeling that him and his office are doing, and they believe that we could be peaking on May 1. And this is only a projection. Even if that day does come and we peak at that period, there's still a lot more work to be done to limit the spread of the virus. So we encourage you to continue to take all the necessary precautions, continue to practice physical distancing to ensure that you're protecting yourself and those around you. My colleague Alan Altman will touch base on this a little bit further. So please help us flatten the curve. We're doing our part. In addition to taking all the precautions we're taking for our team, for our staff, and those that work with us, we've placed 3 hand sanitizing stations in downtown of Yellow Springs. So they're at Tom's Market, at our local grocery store. They're in front of the little art theater, and in front of the credit union. So we're making additional resources available. We have additional supplies that we've purchased, and we'll make more resources available. But please help us by continuing to protect yourself and those around you. We have a great group of people joining us today for our virtual town hall. That's Brian Hausch, our council president, Colin Altman, our fire chief, Chief Brian Carlson, police department, Terry Holden, Yellow Springs School superintendent, Melissa Heston from the Community Foundation, and Mayor Pam. Also joining us via phone, we have Linda Chertnick from the Yellow Springs Community Food Pantry. So with that, I'll turn it over to my colleagues. Brian, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Josue. And, I want to, first of all, say I appreciate you highlighting physical distancing, because I think socially, we all have opportunities to connect via social media, via the 6 p.m. Yellow Springs Wave, which I'll mention again at the end of my comments. But I think it's important to realize that, while we need to, have that physical distance, we still have opportunities to socially be connected. So a couple things I want to mention from the village that we're committed to. One of those is keeping the information flowing and keeping the collaboration going. And so I want to thank the incredible group of village leaders and community members that have, really stepped up to fill in some of the gaps that we've perceived. And we want to continue to, learn from everybody, what we need to do to keep our community vital. I think the other thing that I want to mention is that, we are doing whatever we can to connect you with the appropriate resources to keep you in a good position during this time. So with that, I will say the village is also committed, as Josue has mentioned, to not shutting off utilities during this period. And, we want to continue to work with our residents on these issues. So primarily what I wanted to talk about tonight were a few things with a village council, just so people are very clear on where we're moving. And the first of those is in line with the governor's directives. Our council meetings will be virtual. So we will have, we had a semi-virtual meeting at our last in March interaction, but on April 6th, it will be a full virtual meeting. We will start at 7 p.m. as normal, and that will be followed by the regular virtual town hall. So we hope to be back to our normal meetings in May, but I would definitely expect for the April 20th council meeting to also be virtual. So in the Yellow Springs News, the agenda will be highlighted, but I want to mention a few things for people to be ready for. One of those is that we will be talking about the need for declaring an emergency on the local level. The other thing is that we will be talking about, we have had the revolving loan fund that we have been wanting to revive and moving that back into place. And so one of the things we'll be discussing, which I think won't be controversial, is moving those funds to the Yellow Springs Development Corporation to help with everything that's going on, with the impacts of coronavirus, COVID-19. The other thing I wanted to mention is that with all of these meetings, council is committed to being robust and providing diverse opportunities for viewing our meetings, but also participating in our meetings. And, I know Philip is on the lines with this, but beyond YouTube and Facebook Live, we also have our call-in line, 937-767-3402. And you can also email. Probably the best email to use is POROURKE, POROURKE @YSO.com. For any questions that you have for this meeting or for any council meetings. The other thing I want to say is that we are postponing any discussions or deliberations on issues that we feel are controversial, as opposed to being urgent. So I think, there are things like, injecting more funds through the revolving loan fund that I would consider to be urgent and something we want to put out there. But if there are other issues that we understand there needs to be more public input on, we are going to postpone those until we are back to, I guess, normal. The other thing I want to mention is with village board and council meetings, and I talked about this on Friday, we have essentially suspended those meetings through the end of April, and we will reassess at that point. But I do want to mention that any meetings that are deemed to be urgent, which will flow through me, need to involve critical village business and will still be conducted virtually, but will have the same opportunities for interaction by the public. But again, we're going to reduce those as much as possible. So I think it's really important to keep in mind that nobody during this period is trying to do any fast moves. So we only want to talk about things that are going to directly relate to keeping our village healthy and thriving. So the last thing I wanted to mention, and I'm sure some of these will come up throughout the discussion, but we got confirmation this afternoon that the tax filing for Ohio, state and local, is going to be aligned with the change in the federal changes to July 15th as the deadline. So that's one thing everybody can, kind of push aside for now. I want to give a shout out to hashtag YSWave. At 6 p.m., people are coming out in front of their houses and waving and making noise and letting people know that we're here and that we support each other. So I would encourage you to do that. There are some great resources for not only small businesses, but also on a personal level from the SBA, which we can share more with you. But the economic injury disaster assistance opportunities are out there. The state has done a good job of like getting us set up for that. And so I also want to mention that Job and Family Services have updated their requirements around unemployment benefits. So check that out. If you're not sure that you qualify, you may now. The next thing I will mention is that any questions that come in, and I talked about this before, you can, beyond Facebook Live and YouTube, you can call into 937-767-3402. And we encourage you to email Philip directly, P. O'Rourke, POROURKE at YSO.com for any questions that we can answer tonight or in the future. I do not want to forget that we need to continue to restock the little pantry that is right across the street from Mills Lawn, Walnut and Short. Very important. Also, hashtag any of your like posts to YS Kindness. One of the things that we're trying to remember or keep everybody reminding of is the fact that we need to be sensitive to the anxiety that we're all feeling and being kind to each other. Final thing I'll mention is April 28th has currently been established as the new primary. Mail-in voting is being strongly encouraged. We'll continue to give you updates about this. But ultimately, the village government is committed to maintaining our services for all of our community members. And we want to make sure that you're safe and healthy. And otherwise, Village Council is committed to making sure that democratic processes are in place. And that's where we realize it's not convenient for everybody to be online and interacting. And I know we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the opportunities to help people get more connected in that regard. And finally, our ultimate focus is on protecting our community members, and we are going to make sure that we're guaranteeing our essential and support services. And again, I want to thank like all the council members as well as all of our community leaders for making sure that our community is in good shape. So Josue, back to you.
Thank you so much, Brian. And we're gonna get all this information that Brian shared typed up and have it readily available for a website. Brian shared a lot. One thing I do wanna state about the upcoming council meeting. Brian discussed the consideration of an emergency legislation. We want to position our community, our village, as in the best position that we can to have access to county funds, state funds, and federal funds as we come out of this recovery. So we're thinking about what we need to do now, but we also have our eye onto the future and how we can help our community recover from this. All right, next up is Fire Chief Colin Altman. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Josue. Fire Chief Colin Altman coming to you live tonight from a secure federal bunker facility in the foothills of Maryland. I'm here with Mayor Pam, Mike Pence, and WYSO General Manager Luke Dennis. Actually, no, I'm not, because we're under a stay-at-home order. So how could I go to Maryland? I've been talking to you a lot about getting outside during the stay-at-home and shelter-in-place and having fun. But we wanted to reiterate and kind of clarify some of that for people this evening. We're under a stay-at-home order, which means essential travel only and essential activities only. I know it's not exciting to be at home all the time, but this is important to protect yourself, to protect your family, and to protect other people in the community. So what can you do? Well, if you live in Yellow Springs, Clifton, or Miami Township, go for a hike on one of our local trails. Go to the park, go to the Glen, the Gorge. You can't take a whole army of people with you, but you can take a friend. Just make sure you maintain distance. Do some gardening. The weather's going to be kind of nice, at least for now. We'll see what happens. It's Ohio. Do some video chatting with friends and family you haven't seen in a while. Staying connected is very important. Ask your partner out on a video, online video date, dinner date. You know, they make dinner at their place, you make dinner at your place, and you do something fun. I don't know. Read a book. Very important. Read books. You can work out at home. Take up a new hobby. And you can also explore museums online, which is really cool. So many museums now allow you to do these virtual tours, for free. So those are things you can do. You can also go down to the supermarket. You can go to Tom's. But try and avoid going to these stores at peak times. There's going to be a lot of people there. So try and find a time where there's not a whole lot of people going. If you've got kids, no more play dates. Cancel those play dates. It just has to happen. No more going to neighborhood hangouts, and especially playgrounds. Playgrounds are filled with germs potentially, so we don't want you to go there for now. Definitely don't get into a car with 8 people and drive 22 miles to a neighboring county's park. That is not social distancing. So stay local, stay outside if you want, do some gardening. There's a lot of stuff you can do. We'll put some stuff up on our Facebook page for the fire department that'll give you some suggestions. We'll make it through this. I also want to assure you that we are very lucky in Greene County, that we are very well positioned to respond to this current crisis. The township, the village, the county all work very closely together between fire, EMS, police, municipal services. We work closely with emergency management. We have a great EMA director in Roseanne Anders, fantastic relationship with public health. We also work closely with Greater Dayton Area Hospital Association and the 2 main health systems, Kettering Health Network and Premier Health, and have formulated in-depth plans to handle every level of this emergency. So hopefully that makes your rest a little easier. You can always get in touch with me if you have questions about that kind of thing. If you're a preparedness nerd, I'm happy to talk to you at 6 feet distance. So just remember, we're all in this together. We'll get through this together. And as always, if you need us at the fire department, call 911 or just call our non-emergency number, 767-7842. If you just have questions or want to talk to one of my smiling, happy, charming staff members. Back to you, Josue.
Colin, thank you so much. Your words of wisdom and advice are always appreciated. All right.
My pleasure.
And now we will hear from Police Chief Brian Carlson.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Chief Altman, for those wonderful words. I appreciate you letting us know the things that we can do. I'm going to let everyone know the things that we can't do. So this evening, we are closing the basketball court at the Bryan Center. We tried to maintain that today, but we just ended up with groups of people playing in teams. And for the safety and well-being of the community, we're going to close that. Our playgrounds are closed. So as we notify people and arrive at the school playgrounds, at the public playgrounds, we will also mark those off as well. I'm sorry to have to do these things, but I think it's essential, and it's for the best. Colin made a good point, and I'd like to reiterate it. 3, 4, 5, 6 people in one vehicle there is no way, it's impossible to maintain distance. So I'm going to be working with Nick Budis tomorrow from the Glen, and we're going to be talking about possibly closing the parking lots and making some changes there. On a positive note, I do want to thank everyone that's been so amazing talking to the officers, the thumbs up, the phone calls. We really appreciate it. The police department's doing well, and we're maintaining social distancing as best we can as well. It's very difficult for everyone, as we know. If anyone has questions or anyone has anyone they would like us to check on, that list is growing. Please call the police department, 767-7206, and give us someone's name and phone number and address. We will make sure to check on them regularly. It's actually been very good for us. People are very appreciative of just a simple phone call to remind everyone that, you know, we're aware and we're all in this together. I appreciate everyone. Thanks so much, and don't hesitate to call. Thanks, Josue.
Thank you so much, Brian. I just want to remind folks that, you know, we're not going to let anyone fall through the cracks. Brian said, you know, you want us to check in on anyone, please don't hesitate to reach out. So that number is 937-767-7206. And now we will hear from Terry Holden, our Yellow Springs School Superintendent. Welcome, Terry.
Good evening. Thank you, Josue. Good evening, everyone. I want to remind our families who receive free and reduced lunch services from us that we are continuing our Tuesday and Friday deliveries. Those deliveries will have breakfast and lunch in them for the appropriate number of days between deliveries. We have been able to, through the hard work of the community food pantry, provide some dinners. Again, that is that's a bonus and not part of our regular delivery, but we will try to continue that for as long as we can. I want to mention to all school families, if you have had some change in your financial status due to this coronavirus pandemic, you can still apply to see if you are eligible for free or reduced lunch services that would enable us to provide food for your children. I will be sending out a one call tomorrow with information on how to complete that application. It will take just a little bit, but we can process those applications as quickly as possible. So if you feel like you've had a financial change, I urge you to fill out an application. If you have a SNAP number, you can provide the SNAP number, or you can provide income that we can verify. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me either via email at tholden@ysschools.org or at our main office number at 767-7381. Thank you, Josue.
Thank you so much, Terry. Wonderful work that you and your team are doing to connect with all those families. So please, neighbors, residents, reach out to Terry. Or if you're a parent and you need any of those services, don't hesitate to reach out to her. And now we will listen from Melissa Heston. Melissa.
Hey, Josue, I'm sorry, Melissa, I don't want to interrupt, but I just want to make sure that everyone is aware that we do have an American Sign Language interpreter on the line. And so, you know, just making sure that if you need to tune into that like piece, you can.
Thank you, Brian. And yes, we have the American Sign Language interpreter. She is visible to everyone on the screen. I have a screen right in front of me to my left, so I've been keeping an eye on it. So Thank you. Melissa?
Hi, I'm Melissa Heston. I'm the outreach manager with the Yellow Springs Community Foundation. And here on behalf of the staff and the board, here to tell you that we are here working for you. We have a few things that we want to tell you about. One is that we have a household needs assessment that is coming and being distributed through the Yellow Springs News, which will be in every household in the village and township, courtesy of the Community Foundation this week. You can cut that out, fill it out, mail it in. There will also be one online at yscf.org on our website that you can fill out. And you will also be getting one perhaps from your neighborhood block contact in the next few days, who is in your neighborhood and who will be reaching out to you. You can fill that out and they will collect them, or you can also mail that in. The importance of this is so that we find out from the survey what your needs are and how we as a village, the organizations, the leaders, and the volunteers, the information that you have for us where we can serve you and get you the support and resources that you need. The other thing that we have done is we've backed emergency loans. Go online at the credit union, at Yellow Springs Credit Union online, or give them a call. We also are saying if you need food support, please contact us by email, yscf@yscf.org. Again, that's yscf@yscf.org. We have resources that we can direct you to, including Florence Randolph, the outreach coordinator with the village, who we are in daily contact with and help support. We also want you to know that if you want to volunteer, such as project management, you can email us at yscf@yscf.org. And we have resources we can direct you to as well. And if you would like to donate, please go to our website at yscf.org. And again, the foundation is here to help you. Together, we can do more.
Thank you so much, Melissa. And now we'll hear from Mayor Pam. Mayor?
Thank you, Josue. As we were just reminded earlier by Council President Brian Hausch and Fire Chief Colin Altman from his secure location deep in the hills of somewhere, we still have opportunity for social gathering. We just have to be very careful how we go about it. And I'm about to present you with one more opportunity in your neighborhood where you can check in with your neighbors and have a bit of a safely distanced social gathering. If you have a kindergartner or a first grader within grabbing distance, I want them to come to the computer, call them over, then they can tell you what this is, okay? They will be able to tell you what this is. And I'm putting it on right now. It's my official mayor sash. And that's what I wear when I go into the kindergarten classrooms or when I'm doing something equally as important, almost, and that would be giving a proclamation. I've had a bit of a dry spell here these last couple of weeks for proclamations, but I'm giving one tonight to present you with this wonderful opportunity for social interaction in your neighborhood. And perhaps you will see this up on a slide momentarily, but if not, you catch the glimmer of the gold. It's a real deal. And I'm going to read it to you now. This proclamation comes to you courtesy of the mayor's office. Whereas the village of Yellow Springs, like the rest of our nation, is experiencing governmental dictates and health concerns put into place by the COVID-19 crisis, and whereas most recently Governor DeWine's stay-at-home order when combined with social distancing and other physical barriers, creates a sense of isolation for many villagers. And whereas Yellow Springers being Yellow Springers, there is a need to be neighborly and check in on each other, especially during this time. And whereas at the initiation of a Walnut Street resident who encouraged neighbors to meet outside at a safe distance, of course, daily at 6 p.m. to give a wave to each other, this greeting is going to be extended to as many in the village who would like to participate. Now, therefore, at 6 p.m. from this day forth until further notice, any resident within the village or township who would care to engage in this social activity is encouraged to step outside, go to the end of your driveway or perhaps the edge of your porch, and participate in the Yellow Springs Wave and shout out. You can make as much noise as you care to, especially if you're under a certain age, for up to 3 minutes. We're saying 3 minutes on the noise. I still want to watch for that the violation of the sound ordinances. But you are invited to participate in the Yellow Springs Wave and shout out. Stand out there, wave to your neighbors, talk to them if you want to, maintaining safe social distance. And in witness thereof, I set my hand and seal of the office of mayor on this day. I want it as part of our historical record when I pass this document down to the next mayor and the mayor after that and the mayor after that. And perhaps they'll do what I did when I inherited the proclamation file. And I sat there one afternoon and read through some of these. And when they come to this one, man, they're going to be surprised. Maybe we'll still be doing this. We'll see. So thank you, everyone. Josue, thank you for this opportunity of sharing with our villagers.
Mayor Pam, thank you so much for your leadership and for crafting that resolution and just getting our community behind this good cause. So much to do, so thank you. I want to give an opportunity before we transition to questions to Linda Schernick from the Community Food Pantry. If she would like to share a few words, I'm gonna unmute one of these phones. Linda, are you on?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, wonderful, thank you. I'm sorry not to be visible. Feel a little bit like a ghost here, but I do have just a couple of things to share with you. Thank you. So as has been mentioned, the Yellow Springs Community Food Pantry has been involved in a number of efforts in the village to address food insecurity. And of course, this is an especially concerning time. So the first thing I want to say is tomorrow, Thursday, the food pantry will be open to guests from 2 until 4 at the Methodist Church, as is usual. Volunteers will have packed bags that we will be distributing on the porch very carefully so that both guests and volunteers can be observing social distance. The next thing I want to say is people have been wonderful in terms of wanting to know how to help. Next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, that's March 31st and April 1st, we would be delighted to receive food packages. And please, we ask that you check that any food that you might want to donate has not expired, is not damaged. We would be happy to receive those next Tuesday and Wednesday on the porch of the Methodist Church on South Winter Street. The list of foods that are most requested can be obtained on the Yellow Springs Community Foundation website. So again, that's next Tuesday, Wednesday. We would welcome donations of food that you might want to drop off to the pantry. And of course, monetary donations are very much needed and appreciated. The Yellow Springs Community Food Pantry is a 501c3 organization, so all donations are tax deductible. If you would like to make a donation to the pantry, you may send that to 202 South Winter Street in Yellow Springs. I think those are the main things I would say right now. As there, a lot of information has been shared, we have more information that we can share as these sessions continue. I'm happy to answer any questions after the session if that's a possibility. And the other thing I would just mention is we are very concerned with safety, keeping everyone safe, volunteers and guests, and all the processes we've set up are intended with that in mind, and that issues around food and security can sometimes be awkward, and we do our best to maintain a process that's respectful, and we certainly expect everyone else to do so as well. Thank you so much.
Linda, thank you so much, and thank you so much for all that you're doing for our community. All right. We will now transition to the questions. I want to remind the public that if you want to submit a question, Brian went through a list of all the ways that you can engage with us. If you want to call in your question, that phone number is 937-767-3402. And we have a few questions that have already come in, and so we're going to read through those. The first request is, how can we hear the meeting without seeing it? SoundCloud makes it virtually impossible for MP3s to be uploaded, or makes it possible to upload MP3s to the website. So I'm going to check on that with our team here to see if we can just upload just the sound of this virtual town hall to SoundCloud or some other platform, maybe on our website. So we'll look into that, and we expect to be able to upload that sound. All right, we have the next question. I think this is going to be appropriate for Brian Carlson. The question is, if you're stopped during the quarantine, or I'll change that wording to the stay-home order, what exactly happens?
Well, it depends on the reason for the stop, but folks, we're not stopping everyone that we see out by any means. We're hoping that everyone is respectful of the governor's wishes. Stay at home means stay at home. Essential means essential. Food, drugs, pharmacy, the doctor's office. I know there's other businesses associated in there, parts for your vehicle, office supplies, things that are necessities for you to conduct your life from home. If you are going to and from work and you fall within any of those categories, just write yourself out a couple sentences that you can read to an officer or a sheriff's deputy should you be stopped in the vehicle, and you can explain why and what you're doing, and you'll be on your way. The big thing that we're just asking for is for folks to really think about what's essential right now. And the messages we're getting from all of the leadership that we're working with is to minimize outside, face-to-face, close proximity. So if you maintain that 6 feet, I believe that everything will work for you well. Just explain your situation if an officer asks you, and you'll be fine.
Thank you so much, Brian. And now on to our next question. How long would the village stores be shut down, and is there any financial relief for them? I think this obviously is a two-part question. On the first piece, the village stores outside of the essential stores, we don't know how long that would take. I started my greetings or my introduction with the dates that have been proposed around when this pandemic will peak. Governor DeWine today and his shared the information from their modeling efforts that showed us peaking on May 1st. And again, that's just a prediction. This is when we expect to reach the height of the infection, or or the spread and the new cases that are coming. But we don't know. We have models that dictate to May 1st for Ohio, but we truly don't know. Now, those essentials stores continue to operate. Tom's is open. The Dino's and the Emporium and other businesses are opening on select hours. Many of the restaurants are offering carry out and delivery. That's the Wynn's, Calypso Grill, Miguel's, Subways. There's a comprehensive list that the Yellow Springs Chamber of Commerce has put together. It's readily available on Facebook and different websites, and you can also access that information on our websites. As to your second question, or second part of the question, is there any relief for them? There are relief opportunities being made available now. The SBA has made loans available, and there's various programs that are being put in place for business owners to access cash. I encourage you to visit yellowspringsohio.org. This is the Yellow Springs Chamber website, and all that information is available on that site. So I encourage you to visit that site for additional information. You can also visit our website for links to that website and other resources. Okay, we have another question come in. We only have one grocery store, which is Tom's. Should we be concerned with running out of personal products? At this time, we don't have any reason to believe that there's a shortage of supplies. I think it's just an issue of the timing of when the supplies are coming into our area. I don't have any concerns right now that we're going to be running out of personal products or food. I think the supply chain is in good health and is responding to the needs. You may see some shortages, temporary shortages on certain products. You know, we heard about the toilet paper, and I don't think that we're running out of toilet paper. It's a matter of folks buying up as much toilet paper or resources. So I think that's something to be mindful of, that you may hear of shortages, but it's really a temporary supply chain issue. So I'm not concerned. I'm grateful for what Tom and his team are doing at Tom's Market. They're maintaining that store well stocked. So I thank Tom, and I encourage you to continue to patron Tom's Market. All right, we have another question. Is our U.S. Bank drive-through window still open these days? Short answer is yes. Their primary service right now is through the drive-through, and it's a full service drive-through. So please continue to use that drive-through for your banking needs. Okay, I'm going to switch over to see if there's additional questions. All right, we're waiting on questions to come in, and while we wait, I want to encourage the viewers to submit your questions. You don't have to do it now. You can do it at any point between now and whenever either the next virtual town hall, or when you think of a question. If we're not able to get to your question here, we'll get to it offline and provide responses at the next virtual town hall. We're also continuing to flag and take calls during the day. Our offices continue to be staffed. You can always call us for any services that you're looking for, whether that's a zoning and permitting question or if it's a utility question. Our phones are continuing to be staffed, and we have team working. They may not be here, but they're working from home, and we're continuing to address issues from our residents. So please see us as a resource. Continue to do business with us. So we're here to help. Any additional questions, Philip? Okay. All right, if we don't have any additional question, any of my colleagues have any parting words or need to share anything? All right, I have one more announcement to make. This is related to the carryout and delivery options. I mentioned earlier that the chamber had developed a restaurant carryout and delivery guide, and that's being updated as frequently as needed. That guide can be found at the Yellow Springs Bulletin Board and on the Yellow Springs Chamber website. They also ask that business owners communicate closures and other changes to the Yellow Springs Chamber. You could contact Karen at kwintro@yschamber.org. The chamber also has a COVID-19 specific resource webpage specifically for businesses, and this site includes SBA loan information and other resources specifically for businesses and their employees. And that can be found at the yschamber.org website. And this is a direct resource to that question, what's being done for businesses. I encourage you to look at that website for the resources that are available. Okay, and with that, we are gonna close the virtual town hall. I encourage you to connect with us through the various platforms that we've made available. We'll continue to hold these virtual town halls on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays to provide you regularly updates. Again, I wanna stress how proud I am of the committed individuals in our community that are working tirelessly to organize and to create solutions for our community to ensure that no one gets left behind. We're looking to not only ensure the essential services that the government provides, but we want to ensure that you have access to food, shelter, and a safety net. And we look forward to partnering with you on this endeavor, as this will require the participation of the entire village and the township. We will continue to take every step and effort to ensure that that we're doing the best that we can to flatten this curve and ensure your safety. I also will, in our next town hall, we'll be looking to offer additional ways that you can help not just your local community, but the broader community. The First Lady of Ohio today talked about the face masks that folks were making around the state and sending to her. We're going to be sending out some guidance on that. There's an opportunity for us to organize locally and do some of that, not just for or local businesses that may need that, or local first responders that may need that, but other folks in Ohio. And with that, I say good night. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to serving you. Have a good night.